Picture this: a tiny, flickering candle on a windowsill, its flame trembling against the dark, as if it's whispering secrets to the night. That's how I feel sometimes, like I'm just a small light in a vast, unknowable world, trying to hold my ground. My name is Elena, and I'm 23 years old, living in a quiet corner of a bustling city with my husband, Marcus. He's 28, a man of steady hands and quiet strength, the kind of person who can fix anything, whether it's a leaky faucet or a bad day. We've been married for 2 years now, and every morning still feels like a gift when I wake up to the sound of his soft snoring beside me. Our little apartment isn't much, just a cramped space with peeling paint and a view of a brick wall, but it's ours. It's where we've built a life out of laughter, late-night talks, and the kind of love that doesn't need grand gestures to prove itself. I work at a local diner, the kind of place where the coffee is always a little burnt and the regulars know your name. I sling plates of greasy eggs and hash browns 6 days a week, smiling through the ache in my feet because every tip gets us closer to saving up for something better. Marcus, he's a mechanic, always coming home with oil smudges on his hands and a tired grin on his face. He loves his work, loves the puzzle of taking things apart and putting them back together, and I love watching him talk about it. There's a spark in his eyes when he describes a tricky engine repair, like he's conquered some small corner of the world. We're not rich, not by a long shot, but we've got dreams, big ones. We talk about them over cheap takeout on our rickety kitchen table. Maybe a house one day, with a yard for a dog, or even kids if we can ever afford it. For now, though, it's just us, holding tight to each other in a world that doesn't always feel kind. Our days have a rhythm, a comforting predictability. I'm up before dawn, pulling on my faded apron while Marcus sleeps in just a little longer. I leave him a note on the counter, something silly like, "Don't forget to eat something green today," because he's hopeless with vegetables. By the time I'm halfway through my shift, he's texting me dumb jokes to make me laugh while I'm wiping down sticky tables. When I get home, he's usually there, sprawled on our second-hand couch with a beer in hand, waiting to hear about my day. It's the little things, you know? The way he always saves me the last slice of pizza, or how he hums off key while doing the dishes. Those are the moments that stitch us together, the threads that make our life feel whole, even when the edges are frayed. But I'd be lying if I said it's all easy. There are bills that seem to pile up faster than we can pay them, and sometimes I catch a shadow of worry in Marcus's eyes when he thinks I'm not looking. Still, we've always managed to scrape by, to keep our heads above water. At least, that's what I thought until tonight. There's something different about this evening, a heaviness in the air that I can't shake, like the world is holding its breath, waiting for something to break. It's a chilly autumn night, the kind where the cold creeps through the cracks in our old windows and makes you pull your sweater a little tighter. I'm in the kitchen, standing over the stove, watching a pot of pasta bubble away. The steam rises in lazy curls, fogging up the window above the sink until I can barely see the dim streetlights outside. I swipe a hand across the glass, leaving streaks in the condensation, but it doesn't help much. The smell of boiling noodles and cheap tomato sauce fills the room, a familiar comfort, but even that feels off somehow, like it's not enough to warm the chill that's settled into my bones. I keep glancing at the clock on the wall, its second hand ticking louder than it should. Marcus is late, later than usual. He's always home by 6, grease-stained and tired but smiling. It's almost 7 now, and there's no text, no call, nothing. Finally, I hear the door creak open, and the sound of his boots dragging across the linoleum floor sends a shiver down my spine. It's not the usual steady tread I'm used to. It's slow, heavy, like he's carrying the weight of something I can't see. I turn my head just enough to catch a glimpse of him as he hangs his coat on the hook by the door. His hands, those steady, capable hands that can fix anything, are trembling. I notice it right away, the way his fingers fumble with the fabric, the way they shake even as he tries to hide it by shoving them into his pockets. I want to say something, to ask if he's okay, but the words stick in my throat. Instead, I turn back to the stove, stirring the pasta with more focus than it needs, pretending everything is fine. I drain the noodles, plate them up with a ladle of sauce, and set the table like I always do. 2 mismatched plates, 2 forks, 2 glasses of tap water. Routine. Normalcy. That's what I cling to as I call out to him, my voice a little too bright. Dinner's ready. He mumbles something I don't quite catch and shuffles over, sitting down across from me at our tiny kitchen table. The air between us feels thick, charged with something I can't name. The clatter of forks against plates is the only sound for a while, sharp and grating in the silence. I try to eat, but every bite feels like cardboard in my mouth. Marcus barely touches his food, just pushes it around with his fork, his eyes fixed on some invisible point beyond the table. I can't stand it anymore, the weight of this unspoken thing pressing down on us. I set my fork down, the metal clinking against the plate louder than I mean it to, and I look at him. Really look at him. His face is pale, almost grey under the dim kitchen light, and there's a sheen of sweat on his forehead, despite the chill in the room. My stomach twists. "Marcus," I say, my voice softer now, almost a whisper. "What's wrong? Talk to me." He doesn't answer at first, just keeps staring at that nowhere place. Then, slowly, he lifts his gaze to meet mine, and the desperation in his eyes hits me like a punch. They're wide, haunted, like he's seen something he can't unsee. "They're coming tonight," he says, his voice low and ragged, like it's been dragged out of him. "If you help, the debt will be forgiven." The words hang in the air, heavy and jagged, cutting through the silence. I don't understand what he means. Not really, but the way he says it, the pleading, broken tone, the way he can't hold my gaze for more than a second, makes my blood run cold. A dread settles into my chest, icy and unyielding, spreading through me like frost on a window pane. What debt? What help? My mind races with questions, but I'm too afraid to ask them, too afraid of what the answers might be. I just sit there, frozen, staring at him as he drops his head into his hands, his shoulders trembling. The silence that follows is suffocating, thicker than the steam from the forgotten pasta still cooling on our plates. I don't know how long we sit like that, trapped in this awful wordless space, but it feels like forever. Then, a sharp knock at the door slices through the quiet, making me jump. My heart slams against my ribs as I glance at Marcus. He doesn't move, doesn't even flinch, like he's been expecting it. I stand on shaky legs, wiping my clammy hands on my jeans, and shuffle to the door. When I open it, 2 men stand there, strangers I've never laid eyes on before. They don't look like the kind of people I'd expect from Marcus's cryptic warning. Not rough or menacing, not at all. One is tall, with a calm, almost serene demeanour, his posture straight as a rod. The other is shorter, with a sly grin curling at the corner of his mouth, like he knows something I don't. "Evening," the tall one says, his voice smooth as glass. "I'm Victor, this is Leon." The shorter one nods, that grin widening just a fraction. It's so casual, so normal, like they're here for a friendly chat, but my skin prickles with unease. They step into the kitchen without waiting for an invitation, their presence filling the small space in a way that makes it hard to breathe. Victor's boots click against the linoleum, a deliberate, measured sound as he approaches me. I stand rooted to the spot, unable to move as he reaches out and runs a hand along my cheek. His touch is light, almost gentle, but it sends a shiver down my spine, part fear, part something darker I can't name. "It's warm here," he murmurs, his eyes locking onto mine. "And you're beautiful." My breath catches, my mind screaming at me to pull away, but I don't. I can't. Out of the corner of my eye, I see Marcus in the corner, his head bowed low, his hands clenched into fists on his lap. He won't look at me. He can't. It's then that it hits me, the sickening realization of what's expected, what Marcus meant by help. My stomach churns. bile rising in my throat. But there's a strange numbness spreading through me too, a detachment that feels almost surreal. I could say no. I could scream, fight, run. But I don't. Instead, I make a choice. One I never thought I'd make. And now, they're gone. Victor and Leon, their footsteps fading down the hallway, the door clicking shut behind them with a finality that feels like a punch to the gut. The kitchen is so quiet now. It's almost suffocating, the kind of silence that presses against your ears and makes every tiny sound feel like a scream. I'm sitting at the table again, my hands trembling as I tug at the edges of my sweater, pulling it tighter around me as if it could somehow shield me from what just happened. My fingers fumble with the fabric, clumsy and unsteady, and I can't bring myself to look at Marcus. He's still in the corner, slumped against the wall, his broad shoulders hunched inward like he's trying to make himself smaller, invisible. His face is buried in his hands, hiding whatever storm is raging behind them, and I don't know if I even want to see it. I don't know if I can handle seeing it. The air in here feels heavy, thick with the aftermath, like it's soaked up every word, every touch, every unspoken betrayal. There's a faint trace of cologne lingering, sharp and unfamiliar, mixing with the stale smell of the half-eaten pasta still sitting on the counter. The plates are right where we left them, the noodles congealed into a cold, unappetizing mess, the sauce dried at the edges. It's such a mundane detail, so ordinary, and yet it feels obscene in this moment, a cruel reminder of the normalcy that was shattered tonight. The kitchen light buzzes faintly overhead, casting harsh shadows across the linoleum floor, and I notice a scuff mark near the table leg, probably from one of their boots. It's a tiny thing, insignificant, but it feels like a violation all on its own, a mark left behind on our space, our life. I don't know what to feel. There's a storm inside me, a chaotic swirl of emotions I can't untangle. Shame burns hot in my chest, a bitter, choking thing that makes me want to curl into myself and disappear. Anger simmers beneath it, sharp and jagged, directed at Marcus, at those men, at myself for not fighting harder, for letting this happen. But there's something else too, a strange, hollow numbness that's creeping in, dulling the edges of everything. It's like I'm watching myself from a distance, like I'm not even in my own body anymore. I want to scream, to let out all the rage and pain clawing at my insides, but the words won't come. My throat feels tight, locked shut, and all I can do is sit here, staring at the table, at the scratches in the wood I've never noticed before, as if they hold some kind of answer. Then I hear it, a sound so raw, so unexpected it cuts through the silence like a knife. It's Marcus. A choked, broken sob escapes him, muffled by his hands but unmistakable. My head snaps up, my heart lurching in my chest, because in all the years we've been together, I've never heard him cry. Not once. Not when his dad passed. Not when we lost everything in that bad investment last year. Not even when we fought so hard I thought we might break. He's always been the steady one, the rock I lean on, the man who holds it together no matter what. But now, as I watch him, I see the tears slipping through his fingers, glistening in the dim light as they stream down his face. His hands shake as he tries to wipe them away, but it's no use. They keep coming, silent but relentless, and each one feels like a shard of glass piercing through me. I don't move. I don't reach out to him. Don't cross the space between us to wrap my arms around him like I've done 100 times before. I can't. There's a chasm there now, a gaping void that wasn't there this morning, wider and deeper than anything I've ever felt. I don't know if it's anger holding me back, or pain, or just this awful empty feeling that's taken root inside me. Maybe it's all of it, tangled together in a knot I don't know how to unravel. The clock on the wall keeps ticking, relentless, marking the hours as they slip into the dead of night. It's long past midnight now, and we're still here, rooted to this kitchen, unable to drag ourselves to the bedroom or anywhere else. It's like this room has become a prison, holding us captive with the ghosts of what happened. My body feels like it's made of lead, every muscle aching from the tension that's been coiled tight inside me for hours. My shoulders slump under an invisible weight, and my hands, still resting on the table, feel heavy, useless. My eyes burn from staring at nothing, from holding back tears I'm too stubborn or too broken to let fall. My mind, though, it won't stop. It's a relentless loop, replaying every second of tonight over and over, dissecting every look, every word, every moment I wish I could erase. I see Victor's cold, calculating eyes, Leon's smirk, the way Marcus couldn't meet my gaze. I feel the phantom of a touch on my skin, and it makes me shudder, my stomach twisting with a nausea that won't go away. I don't know how long we've been sitting in this suffocating silence, but finally, I can't take it anymore. The words claw their way out of me, raw and barely audible, scraping against the back of my throat. Why didn't you tell me sooner, Marcus? Why did it come to this? My voice is a whisper, fragile, like it might shatter if I push it any harder. I don't look at him as I speak, my eyes fixed on the edge of the table, on a tiny chip in the wood I've never noticed until now. I'm afraid of what I'll see if I meet his gaze, afraid of the guilt, the pain, or worse, the emptiness that might be there. He doesn't answer right away. The silence stretches on, heavy and oppressive, broken only by the faint buzz of the kitchen light and the distant hum of the city outside our window. I can feel him there, though, still slumped in the corner, his presence a weight I can't ignore even if I try. When he finally speaks, his voice is rough, torn apart by emotion, like every word is a battle. I borrowed money, Elena, a year ago, from people you don't say no to. He pauses, and I hear the shaky breath he takes, like he's trying to steady himself. It was for medical bills, ones I didn't tell you about. I didn't want you to worry, didn't want you to know how bad it was. I thought I could handle it, pay it back before it got out of control. But the interest, it just kept growing, and I couldn't keep up. I hated myself for taking their deal, for agreeing to their terms, but I didn't see another way out. His words hit me like a wave, cold and suffocating, dragging me under. Medical bills. A year ago. My mind scrambles to piece it together, to remember any sign, any hint of what he's talking about. But there's nothing. He hid it so well, kept this secret buried so deep that I never even suspected. I feel a surge of pity for him, for the burden he carried alone, but it's tangled with a burning rage that makes my chest tight. How could he keep this from me? How could he let it spiral so far that it led to tonight? I swallow hard, the lump in my throat making it hard to breathe. When I speak, my voice is low, trembling with the storm of emotions I can't contain. I don't know if I can forgive you for this, Marcus, or myself, for what I did, for what we've become. The words hang between us, sharp and final, cutting through whatever fragile threads were still holding us together. I don't know if I mean them, not really, but they're out there now, and I can't take them back. I push myself up from the chair, my legs shaky, my body protesting every movement. I stumble toward the sink, gripping the edge of the counter, as if it's the only thing keeping me upright. The cold metal bites into my palms, grounding me for a fleeting second. But it's not enough to stop the world from spinning. I stare down at the dirty dishes piled there, the remnants of a meal that feels like it belongs to another lifetime. My reflection wavers in the dull surface of a pot, distorted and unfamiliar, like I'm looking at a stranger wearing my face. Who am I now, after last night? Who are we? The questions churn in my mind, relentless, but there are no answers waiting for me in the silence of this kitchen. Eventually, exhaustion drags us both to bed, though sleep is a distant, unreachable thing. I lie there in the dark, listening to the uneven rhythm of Marcus's breathing beside me, knowing he's not asleep either. The space between us on the mattress feels like an ocean, vast and unbridgeable. I don't know how many hours pass before the first hints of dawn creep through the window, grey and muted, but when they do, I'm still awake, my eyes gritty and sore. The familiar chirp of birds outside our window pulls me from the haze of my thoughts. It's a sound I've always loved, a small reminder of life going on no matter what. But today it feels hollow, almost mocking. How can the world just keep turning after everything has fallen apart? I roll out of bed slowly, my body heavy with the weight of too little rest and too much pain. My bare feet hit the cold floor, sending a shiver up my spine as I shuffle toward the kitchen. Marcus is already there, sitting at the table, his back to me. He doesn't turn as I enter, doesn't acknowledge me at all, and I don't know if I'm relieved or hurt by that. The scene is so painfully normal it twists something deep inside me. I move through the motions like I've done 1,000 times before, pulling out the chipped mugs we've had since we moved in together, pouring coffee from the pot he must have started earlier. The dark liquid steams as it fills the cups, the bitter aroma curling through the air, but it doesn't bring the comfort it usually does. I set the mugs on the table, one in front of him, one at my place, then turn to the toaster, sliding in slices of bread with mechanical precision. The hum of the appliance fills the quiet, a mundane sound that feels out of place in the wreckage of our lives. The kitchen looks the same as it always has. Sunlight streams through the faded curtains, casting pale golden streaks across the linoleum floor. The radiator in the corner hums softly, its warmth doing little to ease the chill that settled into my bones. The same scratches mark the table, the same worn spots on the counter catch my eye. But it all feels alien now, like I've stepped into someone else's home. This isn't the space where we laughed over burnt dinners, or planned our future late into the night. It's a shell of that place, haunted by shadows of what happened here just hours ago. I can't shake the feeling that I don't belong here anymore, that neither of us does. We sit across from each other, the toast now on plates between us, the coffee cooling in our mugs. Neither of us speaks, neither of us looks up. The silence is a living thing, heavy and oppressive, wrapping around us like a shroud. I pick at the crust of my toast, crumbling it between my fingers, but I don't eat. My stomach is a tight knot, unable to handle even the thought of food. Out of the corner of my eye, I see Marcus gripping his mug too tightly, his knuckles pale from the pressure. His hands, those hands I've always trusted to fix anything, look unsteady now, fragile in a way I've never seen before. I notice the faint redness rimming his eyes, the telltale sign of tears shed in the dark when he thought I couldn't hear. It's a quiet devastation etched into the lines of his face, and it cuts me deeper than I expect. I want to reach out, to touch him, to say something, but instead, I simply sit beside him, offering my silent presence as a promise that he doesn't have to face this alone. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment if you enjoyed this story. This will help us create more engaging stories for you.